Next time on Antiques Roadshow, does this painting give you thrills or chills?
It's known as the scary portrait, but I've grown to love this portrait.
It's just a fabulous thing.
Find out more next time on Antiques Roadshow from St. Louis.
Tonight at 7 on Arizona PBS. Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University.
Oh, this is a good one. Is it my birthday?
Now you can access more of your favorite PBS shows than ever before.
You don't mean it.
Yes. Introducing PBS Passport, a new member benefit that lets you binge the latest seasons and catch up on your favorites.
You've made me a happy man.
Anytime you want, anywhere you are.
Unbelievable. Awesome, isn't it?
Support your PBS station and get Passport.
Coming up next on Arizona PBS, Life and World.
Hi, Michael Crow here, President of ASU. Everyone should know that lifelong learning is going to be an essential ingredient to you and your family's success. I'm really proud that Arizona PBS and Arizona State University are working together in every possible way to make certain that you, through the PBS network here and our station here, can have access to all that you need to move your family forward in terms of gaining access to learning over your entire lifetime. No matter what your age, no matter where you are, no matter where you're sitting, no matter what you're doing, we are here for you, and we're really excited about that.
Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from
Whether you need a complete upper and lower denture or a denture that is held in the mouth with implants, the denture experts strive to have a solution for you with their digital technology. Information and appointments at thedentureexperts.com or 480-275-6284.
AARP in Phoenix thinks today should be your day. So get active and help keep Phoenix in motion, or get involved in improving your community. Take on today and every day. Learn how at aarp.org/Phoenix.
From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Valley schools are making school resource officers more accessible on campus. We'll show you how these officers provide much more than just security. Plus, teachers and parents continue their efforts to promote higher pay and more resources for Arizona schools. And spotting the Milky Way night after night, how keeping one Valley community in the dark hopes to bring new prosperity.
Yes, I'm Chancellor Johnson.
And I'm Fortessa Latifi. Thank you for joining us. Following a weekend of activism for school safety, Cronkite News is taking a closer look at school resource officers in our state. Although having a police officer can add a layer of protection for students, not all Arizona schools are funded for SROs. Reporter Nicole Gutierrez takes a look at the responsibilities beyond the badge.
Both in the Maryland and Florida school shootings, a school resource officer was present. We spoke to two Valley High School principals to see how their school resource officers could possibly be a key in preventing a school shooting.
If you drive into Sierra Linda High School, you'll see there's only one entrance.
We've made some adjustments in regards to people coming in and out and trying to do the best we can to try and make sure that the only people that are coming here in our school they come for a purpose.
Principal Tim Madrid strives to keep his campus safe for everyone. The school also relies on security personnel and its school resource officer.
I need him here to educate my kids. I need him here to educate and to bridge the gap between, what law enforcement truly is.
Madrid says that a bridge between law enforcement and students can prevent violence.
Safe to go to him and say, hey, listen, guess what I saw on campus that's not right? I saw a kid that did this or this or that. That's prevention. And that's prevention coming from the kids. Because the kids, as you can see in all these incidents that have happened, there have been signs.
But Madrid says schools need more resources to help ensure safety.
We need a full-time prevention interventions. Every school needs it. Just because our school's in the barrio, just because our school, is in the West Valley, in the Southwest Valley, it doesn't make a difference. Kids have social emotional needs no matter what their demographic and where they come from.
And at Westview High School, communication with their school resource officer is just as important.
SRO is not just here for security, but also is here to teach our students law-related education classes.
Officer Edward Tavis serves for the Avondale Police Department and is the SRO at Westview High School. And although this high school has cameras and panic buttons, Tavis has gone through yearly school shooting trainings.
The training requires you to think quickly and move quickly. You have to communicate, because not only do you have to find out and do what you need to do, you need to let everyone else know who's coming.
Principal John Renard says the school resource officer is more than just an added extra layer of protection, that his surveillance and communication with the students are important.
A lot of times once the students feel feel comfortable talking to the police officer, they provide them a lot of information that we use to actually interdict any type of potential threats on campus.
Communication that Tavis tries to stress to everyone on campus too.
Hey, if anything looks out of the ordinary, if it feels out of the ordinary, it doesn't hurt to call.
Last week, Doug Ducey stated that some of the priorities in keeping schools safe in Arizona include increasing mental and behavioral health resources at school and also increasing school resource officers and law enforcement presence at school. In the broadcast center, Nicole Gutierrez, Cronkite News.
Advocates here in the Valley raised their voices for stricter gun laws, and this time they rallied in the streets. Reporter Megan Myers spoke to a few of the students behind the movement.
There are so many young kids in Arizona ready to speak up for what they believe in, ready to speak on something that they never thought that they could speak on.
This past Saturday brought nearly 15,000 student advocates to the Arizona State Capitol.
Forget us! You won't forget us!
One of the 800 March for Our Lives rallies. Marching not just in Arizona, but all over the world.
Their signs and their voices, and it's just amazing to see so many strangers come together with one big message.
Parents, children, students, and survivors rallying with one purpose in mind: stricter gun laws. 17-year-old McKenna Gaddis, who wore a bulletproof vest, stood out in the crowd.
I go to a Catholic school, so I gotta wear a uniform every day. So it's like, I don't want it to change quite yet, I want to still be in my skirt. I don't want to have to wear something so extreme.
Although some of the kids that are in attendance today are too young to vote, they are still determined that their voices be heard.
Our communities need to get together. If you cannot vote, there are other ways you can get involved.
Taking action throughout downtown Phoenix, chanting for change.
I hope to vote out people who won't do anything. I hope to vote in people who will stand with our students and everyone in the country who is voting for change and wants to see something really happen.
I just think that there needs to be a change. The Second Amendment is really about the old guns and guns in that century, and we've evolved so much that there needs to be something new that's happening.
And they are taking a step toward that change. In Phoenix, Megan Meyer, Cronkite News.
With midterm elections quickly approaching, students who are soon to turn 18 will have the chance to vote.
It was more than just students who marched at the state capitol. Parents and legal guardians also stepped into the rally. Reporter Imani Stevens explains why adults took part as well.
It's time for action, and it's time for leadership.
Students filled the streets hand in hand, and some with their parents.
The kids are old enough now that they know about it, and I want to tell them that we've tried.
Mother of two boys, Ellen Hoskins says she feels like nothing is getting better.
After every school shooting, I think they're going to do something.
Bump stocks must be banned.
It's horrifying. It's scary to send them to school.
And it's something that she didn't experience while she was in school.
When my kids started school, I was shocked at all the fencing and the gates. It's like they're in a prison. And when I was a kid, the school playground was completely open and anybody could get into the school because we didn't worry about it. And now we have to worry about it.
We think it's important for us all to be here as a family.
And these parents want to make change too.
It could be any school.
I pray I never hear that message.
With thousands out here today at the march, some parents decided to bring their children. Well, one mother says she decided not to bring her 2-year-old daughter because of potential danger.
I'm afraid to bring her, so I come representing her. I am here to help make a difference in her future.
A size 6 pink pair of sneakers. Zai says her daughter can't fit them yet, but soon she'll be going to school in them.
As soon as she's potty trained, she's going to be she knows she gets to go to school, and she talks about it. She wants to go to school. She wants to have friends. She wants to go play.
But she's teaching her daughter something now.
The most important thing that I can teach her is to be kind and tolerant and observant. Because you have no idea what's going on at home. You don't know whose mom just died. You don't know who has mental illness. All right, Lily Beth, I'm here for you today, sweetheart.
And Zyg is rallying now before it's too late.
Silence in this situation is equivalent to death.
Parents marching for more than just their children, but the victims of Parkland.
Enough is enough!
In Phoenix, Imani Stevens, Cronkite News.
Moving forward, there are a number of House and Senate bills proposing to make gun laws stricter, most of which are waiting for votes. Depend on Cronkite News for full coverage.
Governor Doug Ducey signed a new bill today that will extend a sales tax that provides more than $500 million a year for public schools and universities until 2041. Today's signing comes after the legislature overwhelmingly approved the extension last week. The measure extends the 0.6 sales tax included in Proposition 301, which was set to expire in 2021, for another 20 years.
Teachers are turning to the community for help in spreading awareness about the Red for Ed movement. Reporter Gabriela Becerra gives us a look at how 3 teachers from Desert Shadows Middle School spent their Sunday preparing for the rally.
So they said to paint the town red. So everyone just kind of ran with that.
Communities gathered at different parks across the valley to make posters ahead of the rally on Wednesday and to paint their cars with Red for Ed slogans. Teacher at Desert Shadows Middle School, Deirdre Cronin, says they are trying to get parents involved by making them more aware of the movement.
I'm hoping that between now and Tuesday night, some people that don't know about the movement might wonder what is Red for Ed.
3 teachers from Desert Shadows Middle School met at Sereno Park to spread awareness of the Red for Ed movement and to share their stories with parents.
I'm a single teacher. This is my 20th year in education. Like many people, I have a master's and I can't pay my bills without a second job.
Cronin says she will be rallying for a salary increase. She currently works 2 jobs and says she might need a 3rd job if change doesn't take place.
I call that 3rd job my fun money, because a lot of my school money either goes to the kids back in my classroom or to my bills.
Kimberly Cota says she also has other part-time jobs to help pay her bills because a teacher's salary isn't enough. And Jennifer Samuels will be rallying for smaller class sizes. Her daughter was in a kindergarten class with 30 other students.
It's very emotional for us. We're ready for change. We have to get smaller class sizes and we have to increase teacher pay.
Samuels will be sharing her personal experience about being a teacher in Arizona at the rally on Wednesday. In Phoenix, Gabriela Becerra, Cronkite News.
Educators United organizer Noah Carvelis tweeted that community events will be taking place throughout April. Teachers, parents, and students will be rallying at the Capitol on Wednesday from 4 to 7 p.m. Arizona Senator John McCain had a high-profile stand-in to receive his latest award.
Coming up on Cronkite News, we'll take you to the ceremony at the U.S. Naval Academy as McCain was honored by his former classmates.
Plus, a victory for John McCain's wife, Cindy, in the fight against sex trafficking. How one bill could change the way the internet is used and even save lives.
I'm Judy Woodruff, anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. The journalists of tomorrow face a fast-changing media landscape, but quality news remains vitally important to our communities, our country, and our world. At ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, students learn solid, reliable reporting, holding the powerful accountable, and rebuilding the public's trust. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
As journalists at Cronkite News, we report on stories that matter to you by focusing on the local impact. We dig deeper and work tirelessly to keep you informed.
Live in Wickerburg.
Live in Los Angeles. In Cleveland. In Washington. In Louisville.
From Jerusalem.
Live in Philadelphia. From around the world to right here in Phoenix.
At Cronkite News, we report the facts and stick to the truth.
Senator John McCain has been in Arizona since last fall being treated for cancer, but his former colleagues continue to recognize him with awards in and around the nation's capital. Washington Bureau's reporter Shelby Lindsay takes us to the latest honor.
John is an American hero who's lifted all of us up, lifted his nation up.
Former Vice President Joe Biden has often called Senator John McCain a hero, most recently at the United States Naval Academy, where McCain was honored as a distinguished graduate.
His maverick reputation first took place at the Academy, where he became better known for his disciplinary scrapes than his academic achievements.
Biden accepted the award on behalf of McCain, who continues treatment in Arizona for a deadly form of brain cancer. The class of '58 nominated McCain, even though people like class president Gordon Gerson did not know him well during school.
The first I really knew about him was when he became a POW.
McCain flew combat missions over Vietnam, where he was captured and spent more than 5 years as a North Vietnamese prisoner of war, turning down chances to be freed. Biden said few could live up to that standard.
How many others, knowing they could go free, would subject themselves to 5 more years of torture because he adhered to the standard? First man in, first man out.
McCain was awarded not just for his military service, but his time in politics as well. Gerson described McCain's political career as elegant.
He seemed to have a lot more right answers than many other congressmen did.
Biden commended McCain's military and political career, saying he is one of the best characters the Senate has ever known. Reporting from Annapolis, Maryland, Shelby Lindsay, Cronkite News.
This is not the first time Biden has been involved with an award from McCain. The former vice president presented the senator with the National Constitution's Senator's Liberty Medal in October.
After years of advocacy by Cindy McCain, the U.S. Senate overwhelmingly passed a bill to allow states to prosecute people who use the internet for sex trafficking. Cronkite News reporter Ariana Bustos has the latest from our Washington bureau.
A Craigslist user who logs into the personal section today will find this. The removal of the personal section was in response to a bill passed overwhelmingly last week to let states prosecute people who use the internet for sex trafficking. The bill amends a decades-old law that said online platforms could not be prosecuted for the content of their sites. Senator Rob Portman of Ohio said this bill is an important step to help victims of sex trafficking.
We had a big victory just now, a victory for the victims and the survivors of trafficking. We now have the ability to go after these websites that are exploiting women and children online.
Cindy McCain, a longtime advocate against human trafficking, spoke at a hearing last fall in support of the bill. And Senator John McCain said in a statement on its passage, "We have a long way to go to end human trafficking in the United States and around the world. And I hope Congress will build on today's important achievement to stop the sale of women and children." Critics of the bill say that it interferes with the First Amendment and would lead to internet censorship. But Senator Heidi Heitkamp of North Dakota said that isn't true.
We have done nothing to interfere today with the First Amendment. This body can't interfere with the First Amendment. That's a constitutional right. But we can change legislation when it's used to shield the worst kind of behavior in America.
Heitkamp praised both John and Cindy McCain for their work on the bill.
They are the heroes, and if they're watching it, if they see this, I want them to know that once again, the American heroes that they are, they have done something that is so important. They have protected the most vulnerable of all children.
The bill now goes to the president for a signature. Reporting from Washington, Ariana Bustos, Cronkite News.
Stargazing can be tough in a big city like Phoenix. However, one town in Maricopa County takes pride in their dark skies.
Coming up on Cronkite News, we look into what steps Fountain Hills took to be named an international dark skies community.
And it's going to warm up here in the valley. Stay tuned to see just how warm it's going to get.
I'm Ted Simons, host and managing editor of Arizona Horizon. Join us each weekday at 5:30 and 10 as we bring you the top newsmakers who impact the state. We cover the stories in depth that shape and affect our local communities, and we take the time to ensure that all voices are equally heard. For more than 30 years, Arizona Horizon has been your voice and your source for what matters most, right here on Arizona PBS.
Fridays, it's at Cronkite News, your social sharing connection where you choose the news. Facebook likes and shares, tweets, retweets, and favorites. YouTube views and subscriptions. We're watching you watch us. From our digital home at cronkitenews.azpbs.org to your television, web browser, or mobile device. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Then join us for @Cronkite News, our weekly refresh, each Friday at 5 on Arizona PBS.
Fountain Hills is known for lush golf courses, scenic hiking trails, and art galleries. Local activists want to add one more thing to that list. The town now has some of the darkest skies in the world. Nicole Randolph traveled to Fountain Hills to learn why the town worked for years to earn a dark sky community designation.
Fountain Hills was recently designated an international dark sky community, a rare distinction that only 16 other communities in the world have earned.
Coming to Arizona, this is astronomy heaven. It's clear most of the year and warm, so we can go out in January and observe and not have to wear heavy boots.
Activists and amateur astronomers came together, they say, to protect what little sky remained untouched from the bright sky glow of surrounding cities by creating the Fountain Hills Dark Sky Association.
So you'd think when you start something like this, changing the ordinance or whatever, some people would object to that. We have had almost 100% support for this effort right from the beginning.
The association and town council made two simple changes: shield the light so it only shines where it's needed, and change the lights from a bright blue to an orange hue.
So this light behind me is an example of the lights that the town had prior to retrofitting our municipal lighting. And the biggest difference between this light and the new lights is that it's more in the blue spectrum and it's brighter than what the dark sky ordinances now regulate.
The town invested about $23,000 to upgrade the municipal LED lights. Town officials say they will see a return on investment within 5 years because of reduced energy use. Fountain Hills residents are able to see the Milky Way every night, but according to a 2016 study published in Science Advances, almost 80% of people living in North America can't say the same due to light pollution.
This is the Orion Nebula. This is a cloud of dust and gas that's giving birth to stars right now. And these bright stars here are the ones that are glowing bright enough to illuminate this whole cloud of gas.
The space and astrotourism industry generates $250 million in revenue each year for our state, according to a 2008 study by the University of Arizona. Fountain Hills is the 4th Arizona community with the Dark Skies designation and only the 2nd Dark Skies community located near a large metropolitan area. Fountain Hills is celebrating its first Dark Skies Festival on April 21st. In downtown Phoenix, Nicole Randolph, Cronkite News.
The weather has certainly been nice enough to get outside and take a look at the skies.
But will the nice weather stick around this week? Holly Bach is tracking our forecast.
Yeah, and it's actually going to get pretty warm as we head into the week. Tomorrow morning, we're going to start out pretty cool at 57 degrees. And as we head into our highs for tomorrow, it is going to be in the 70s, just like today. 71 in Glendale, 72 in Surprise, 69 degrees in Paradise Valley, and 67 degrees in Fountain Hills. Now, many states in the U.S. are currently having some thick high cloud coverage and some rainfall, as you can see here. But luckily, what we do have, that small amount in the northern Arizona region, is going to clear out by Wednesday and bring us some warmer temperatures. And on Thursday, it's going to be a great day for some baseball. The D-backs home opener game starts at just around 7:10 p.m. and it's going to be 80 degrees, so it's a beautiful day out there for some baseball. Now, Wednesday is going to be the day that starts our warming trend, 80 degrees. Thursday at 86 degrees, and Friday and Saturday, 91 degrees is the high on Saturday. Sunday, 88 degrees. So if you have any plans this weekend, maybe a barbecue or some Easter egg hunts, you're going to want to plan accordingly to these temperatures. Guys, I'll send it back to you.
Spring training here in the Valley brought in a lot of people and a lot of trash.
Coming up on Cronkite News, we take a look at what ASU is doing to team up with local stadiums to reduce the amount of waste at baseball games.
Cronkite News, weeknights at 5 on Arizona PBS.
By the year 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. Before Professor Halden, I had an insane amount of passion, but I almost felt helpless because I didn't know how to use it. Professor Hall didn't give me a chance to make a difference. Being at a place like ASU allows you to take these big leaps. Ultimately, the biggest problems in the world cannot be solved alone.
Third Rail with Ozzy, the new weekly show where we tackle the taboo and debate the tough questions with some of the most interesting minds in the game. I'm Carlos Watson. Electrifying conversation. Friday, only on PBS.
Spring training is normally a time to learn about your favorite team's young talent and brightest stars.
But this year, Cactus League fans are learning about being a sustainable sports watcher. Cronkite News reporter Drew Andre takes us to the ballpark to explain.
Sporting events attract many fans, and in return, lots of waste. Over the course of spring training, Major League Baseball and Salt River Fields teamed up with the Arizona State University School of Sustainability to implement zero-waste strategies.
A part of the initiative is to create what's called a circular economy, which means treating things like wrappers, cups, or even grass, not as a waste, but as a resource.
The key is having the partnership with ASU. I mean, we've got a game here every day for 32 straight days, so my staff, they don't have time to tell people where to put the stuff.
And that's exactly what a group of 11 undergraduate and graduate students at ASU are doing. At select games at Salt River Fields, the team gives public service announcements reminding people to recycle, in addition to directly engaging with the fans.
Okay, how important is recycling to you?
And this data is pretty much going to talk about how the fans feel about recycling and how they feel about recycling in the stadiums and as a consumer and even in sports in general.
The headliner for this project is the 8th inning Recycle Rally.
It's now time for the Recycle Rally,
where fans are encouraged to pass down their cans, cups, and bottles to be collected by the students.
They don't have to dispose of it later. It creates a cleaner, more inviting fan experience for them. And guess what? It's actually going to, in the future, lower the operational costs of the stadium because we don't have to pick that stuff up after the fact.
At the end of the day, we're making a change in sports and we're making a change with fans.
Tatro added that this is an opportunity for MLB to see a change in sustainability on a smaller scale that can be translated to ballparks across the country. In Scottsdale, Drew Andre, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, a congressional debate between Republican Debbie Lesko and Democrat Dr. Hiral Tipernini in the race for Congressional District 8. Catch the candidate debate Monday at 5:30 and 10 on Arizona Horizon.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next NewsHour, the legal cases against President Trump brought by women alleging they were silenced or defamed. That's Monday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from
Hospice of the Valley, medical, social, and spiritual care for patients nearing end of life, and support for their families. A not-for-profit community hospice, HOV.org.
The denture experts with their digital technology strive to give you a confident and natural smile with comfortable fitting dentures or implants with no sores or odors. Information and appointments at thedentureexperts.com or 480-275-6284.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, does this painting give you thrills or chills?
It's known as the Scary Portrait, but I've grown to love this portrait.
It's just a fabulous thing.
Find out more next time on Antiques Roadshow from St. Louis.
Tonight at 7 on Arizona PBS. Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State.